He inspired Argentina to a World Cup triumph with the magic that lingered in his dancing feet. Diego Maradona is arguably the best footballer of all time. He led the influx of African players into the upper echelons of football. And Portugal's superstar Eusebio sits comfortably with the immortals of his sport. His star burned more brightly than anyone for a short time. The remarkable Irishman, George Best. 3 more giants of sport. This is the Immortals. He came out of the tough streets of Buenos Aires, and he was a genius, pure and simple. From Alfredo Di Stefano to Gabriel Batistuta to Lionel Messi, Argentina has always produced superstars of the global game. But in all likelihood, one man stands at the top of the pile for the sky blue and white colors, and they called him Piba de Oro, the Golden Boy. Diego Armando Maradona played 4 FIFA World Cups for Argentina and won trophies with Napoli in Italy and with FC Barcelona in Spain. But it was his near single-handed elevation of Argentina to the World Cup victory in 1986 in Mexico that allows him to stand apart. As captain, he lifted the trophy for Argentina's 2nd ever win and was player of the tournament. He became an iconic figure, not only in his native country, but around the world, meeting the Pope, dining with presidents and political figures like Fidel Castro, the Cuban leader. And there were some tough times. A substance abuse problem that brought him down for many years, and a positive drug test at the 1994 World Cup that saw him sent home from the United States. Through it all, Maradona was idolized because of his ability on the ball, the lethal left foot strikes, and for the bulging list of achievements. In Buenos Aires, a museum opened to show off his memorabilia, including the boots he used to tear apart the rest of the opposing teams in Mexico in 1986.
He is part of the historical moment of Argentina and of the whole world. He is synonymous with Argentina. When you say the word Maradona, you say the word Argentina. He is one of the icons, personalities most classic and unique of the 20th and 21st centuries.
Then there was the Church of Maradona, founded in the Argentine port city of Rosario, where the 120,000 members honor the day June 22nd, 1986, when Maradona's 2 goals destroyed England in a World Cup quarter-final.
We are celebrating the vigil of the Maradonian Christmas and New Year. We are going to wait till 12 so that at that hour we can celebrate Diego's birthday and New Year.
His achievements as a player stacked up. He won an Argentine Premier Division title with Boca Juniors as a young man, a Spanish Cup title with Barcelona, and then 2 Serie A titles, an Italian Cup title, and a UEFA Cup during his 7 years with Napoli. Individually, he won the Silver Boot at the 1986 World Cup and was named to the World Cup All-Star team twice, as well as winning the internet vote for the FIFA Player of the Century in 2000. Lionel Messi, the wizard who followed in his footsteps, but who could not repeat his World Cup exploits, told it straight. The greatest there's ever been. Still to come on the Immortals, a tale of two superstars of their time. They stand as arguably the two best ever players of the beautiful game, but they were never especially close on a personal level. Maradona and Brazil's champion Pelé are the most often mentioned when the debate occurs as to who is the greatest of all. But ironically, the pair conducted a feud from a distance over the years. They were somewhat different players. Pelé more of a pure striker, and Maradona more of a midfielder. Maradona was an incredible dribbler, but left-foot dominant, while Pelé was equally proficient on either side. And over the journey, Pelé won more, his 3 World Cup medals being unique. When FIFA decided in 2000 to hold a poll to determine the player of the century, it quickly split the vote and named both Pelé and Maradona as winners, unable to reach a definitive decision. Maradona had dominated the internet poll with 53.6% of votes, ahead of Pelé's 18.5% and Eusebio on 6.2%. But in a separate poll of an international jury, along with readers of the FIFA magazine, Pelé finished on top with more than 72% of the vote. Alfredo Di Stefano was second, and Maradona was third, a result that displeased him. I had the vote of the people. Pelé won by forfeit. Responding, Pelé called Maradona an ill man. Fortunately, this pair of legends reconciled some years later. And when Maradona began a career as a television host, he had Pelé as a guest on his first show.
I
had a great desire to bring Pelé to my program in this moment, because I have met a Pelé that I have never known before. This Pelé is more sensitive, seems like life crashed with him, and now he has an open mind, more confident. I like it very much.
Me gustó mucho, sí.
Two of the greatest legends the sport has ever known headed a football to each other and swapped stories. It was an almost perfect moment. Diego Maradona's playing career spanned 20 years at the top level, but it was in the space of a few weeks in Mexico that he made his name forever. Maradona turned the 1986 FIFA World Cup finals into his own personal highlight reel, his magnum opus. He scored 5 goals, second best for the tournament behind Gary Lineker, and his tally of assists, 5, meant he had scored or created 10 of Argentina's 14 goals in the tournament. His performance in the quarter-final against England at Azteca Stadium was unforgettable in several ways. Maradona not only scored one of the most controversial goals of all time, but 5 minutes later produced the single most dazzling piece of football and the best goal of his career, perhaps the best by any player. The first goal, scored when he leapt to head the ball, but instead punched it beyond the England goalkeeper Peter Shilton and into the net, became known as the Hand of God goal, the nickname coming from Maradona's own quote after the game.
If 90,000 people did not see it, why did he see it? This day I had God's hand because I put it in and out very quickly. The 90,000 fans didn't suspect it was a handball.
Un arquerazo. Los arqueros
But it
tienen que
was
salir
God's
con los
hand.
ojos abiertos.
The second goal, drilled into the net after he took the ball in his own half and beat 4 English defenders and Shilton, was named the FIFA World Cup Goal of the Century in 2002. The symbolism was remarkable. The man was simply unstoppable. Not content, Maradona scored twice against Belgium in the semi-final, then set up the winner for his teammate, Jorge Barrichaga, in the final, as Argentina won 3-2 against West Germany. Maradona's highs were never quite so stratospheric from there, and Argentina lost the 1990 World Cup final to West Germany in Rome. He was sensationally sent home from the 1994 tournament in the United States after testing positive to a stimulant, and it proved to be his last World Cup as a player. But he achieved legend status at Napoli, returning to the club to celebrate the 30th anniversary of its Serie A titles and receiving his number 10 shirt.
Ahí es cuando sono andato a firmare per il Napoli.
When I went to sign for Naples,
Gaspar. Mi ha detto, non te ne andare.
Gaspar told me, don't leave.
Io te do 5 anni ancora
I will give you 5 more years
con il doppio di quello che guadagnava in quel momento.
and I will double your salary.
Io ho detto no, no.
I said no,
Io vado a una città, a Napoli.
I am going to
Mi sta
Naples,
aspettando. Perché io,
a town that is
invece
waiting for me,
del soldi,
because instead of the money, I rather prefer to run after a ball.
Maradona's playing career turned full circle, and he returned to Boca Juniors in Argentina in his football dotage, his career ending in 1998. Maradona also managed his beloved Argentina from 2008 to 2010, but he was nowhere near so successful in that role as he was on the pitch. It was wearing the number 10 that he excelled. Was he the best? Perhaps. What is not in doubt is that he was unforgettable. Up next on the Immortals, Portugal's magnificent Eusebio. Before there was Luis Figo, and before there was Cristiano Ronaldo, the great footballing country of Portugal idolized a player with a lethal right foot strike. His name was Eusebio da Silva Ferreira, and they called him the Black Panther. He carved himself an incredible career for Benfica FC in the Portuguese league and came close to winning a World Cup for Portugal in 1966. When he died in 2014, huge crowds lined the streets of Lisbon for a funeral procession that wound its way past the statue built in his honor at Estádio da Luz, headquarters of the mighty Benfica club. The president of Portugal declared an official 3 days of mourning. His 2 goals helped Benfica to a victory in the 1962 European Cup, forerunner of today's Champions League, with a 5-3 result over Real Madrid in Amsterdam, the second of the club's consecutive triumphs in Europe. Benfica came from 2-0 down after the great Ferenc Puskás scored twice early for Real, and ultimately Eusebio's brace was enough to deny the Spanish club. The Lisbon club won 8 Primeira Liga titles in the 1960s and 3 League Cups, as well as the 2 European triumphs, ranking it first among European clubs 3 times, in 1965, 1966, and 1969. With his thunderous right foot strikes, Eusebio was at the heart of it. and in 15 seasons at Benfica, he would win 11 Portuguese titles. Eusebio was born and raised in Lourenço Marques, in what was then the Portuguese colony of Mozambique, and signed by Benfica at 18 years of age. He was one of the first African players to rise to prominence in European football, paving the way for the modern-day superstars like Didier Drogba and Yaya Touré. Eusebio won the Ballon d'Or in 1965 as best player in Europe and was named to the FIFA 100, a list of the greatest living footballers chosen in 2004. FIFA records show him scoring 679 goals from 678 official games, and he remained the record holder at Benfica. While at international level, he was Portugal's top man with 41 goals, until Cristiano Ronaldo overtook him in 2014. When FIFA held an internet poll to determine the player of the 20th century, he finished third with 6.21% of votes, with only Diego Maradona and Pelé ahead of him, none of which was important to the man himself. I'm proud to say I've done something for the good of football. I don't compare myself to anyone. Some of his greatest moments came in the 1966 World Cup, when Portugal competed on the biggest stage for the first time. In the quarter-final against North Korea, the Portuguese fell a catastrophic 3-0 behind after 25 minutes and needed a superhero to save them. Eusebio proceeded to score 4 goals, 2 from penalties, as Portugal's eye-catching run continued with a 5-3 win at Liverpool in one of the most famous of World Cup matches. A cauldron of 90,000 fans greeted them as the Portuguese met England in the semi-final at Wembley. And Bobby Charlton, with 2 goals, ensured that the fairy tale was over for Eusebio and his teammates. Eusebio scored a goal from a penalty, but ended up in tears on the pitch after England's 2-1 victory. To the end of the 2014 World Cup, Portugal had never gone farther than its 3rd place finish in 1966, Eusebio's only appearance at the game's greatest tournament. But at least they have the memories of the amazing Black Panther.
Eusebio da Silva Ferreira foi das personalidades mais cativantes.
Eusebio da Silva Ferreira was one of the most captivating personalities I met in my life. His talents as a sportsman gave joy to millions of people and to entire generations. Eusebio's tears on that day are our tears today. The country weeps his death. The country is officially in mourning.
Covert operations to sign a marquee player are not new in the world of football. But Benfica's effort in snaring Eusebio from the clutches of Sporting Lisbon, its great rival, has gone into the annals of the game. In his native Mozambique, Eusebio was playing with a feeder club of Sporting. So when Benfica signed him in 1960, the club chose not to use his name in any correspondence, lest Sporting Lisbon discover the heist. Hence, Portugal's greatest ever player began his life in a new country with a code name, Ruth Melosso, and hiding away in a village in the Algarve outside Lisbon until paperwork was completed. Eusebio, who completed the last few years of his career in North America, is a national treasure in Portugal and undoubtedly an immortal of the game.
I think I have extraordinary memories. Eusebio has died, but what he did will never die.
When we return, Northern Ireland's finest, the maverick George Best. George Best played hard, lived hard, died too early. His rise to fame as a boy from Belfast in Northern Ireland coincided with the rise of another famous British institution. And when he helped win the European Cup for Manchester United in 1968, he was dubbed El Beetle. He was one of the first celebrity footballers, with his high-rolling lifestyle and heavy drinking, for which he would pay a price later. But when he died of multiple organ failure in 2005, aged just 59, he left an indelible legacy for football. He may be the best ever footballer to hail from the British Isles. Certainly, he was the most talented. Most of his greatest feats were performed at club level for Manchester United, whom he joined as a 17-year-old from Belfast, when he had learned the game kicking a tennis ball around the streets. United won First Division English titles in 1965 and 1967, as well as becoming the first English team to win a European Cup, with Best in his prime. And he won the Ballon d'Or for Best Player in Europe in 1968. Sadly, he never graced the finals of a FIFA World Cup, for Northern Ireland never qualified when he was playing in his prime. By the time his country qualified in 1982, he was 37, playing in North America, but a spent force.
At the moment, I think I'm a complete wreck in every way, which is why I came here. I didn't decide to come here, I just went to the airport and ended up here. I just wanted to get away from it.
On the verge of a nervous breakdown?
Probably, yeah. I think if I hadn't got away, I would have had one.
Best's lifestyle was as famous as his incredible dribbling skills, and his most famous quote tells a story. "I spent a lot of money on booze, birds, and fast cars. The rest I just squandered." But Pelé regarded him as the best player in Europe, if not the world, and he inspired a young Diego Maradona growing up in Buenos Aires. None of his off-pitch exploits can diminish his impact at United, which had not won a title for 6 years when he arrived as a teenager, and was not the superpower that it is today. Best's arrival to join famous manager Matt Busby yielded 2 English League titles, and his star was shining its brightest.
It took me a long time to realise, who the hangers-on were and who weren't. And I did enjoy being the centre of attraction, but it became a monster.
In 1967-68, United became the first English team to win the European Cup, beating a Benfica team that included the great Eusebio 4-1 in extra time. Best scored a brilliant goal at the start of extra time to put United ahead, and Bobby Charlton and Brian Kidd added the cream on top of the club's greatest triumph to that point. George Best was just 22 years old, and he was English Player of the Year, had won the Ballon d'Or as the best player in Europe, and won European club football's greatest prize. 4 years later, he retired from football, then made a short comeback with United, followed by stints at several other European clubs and in America, then stepped away for good.
Could have been anything. I mean, I never ever measured it in quantity. It was a length of time, usually, how much I drank. But even in those days, I mean, I went for long periods of times when I didn't drink, but when I did, I mean, I had to be, I suppose I drank the same as I played or trained. I wanted to be the best trainer, I wanted to be the best player, and I wanted to be the best drinker, which isn't very smart when you're a professional athlete.
At Old Trafford, headquarters of Manchester United, there is a statue of the so-called Holy Trinity of Best, Charlton, and Denis Law, scorers of a combined 665 goals for the club. George Best's star faded quickly, but he could dribble a ball and step through a tackle like no one else. He was a true immortal.